live.
You're listening to the We Talk Nerd podcast about gaming, movies, and everything nerd. I'm your host, Brandon.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Rob.
And this week we'll start off with talking to Rob and see what he's been up to.
Yeah, so not too much, but it's nice to be back streaming and doing this live for anyone out there that may be watching or been waiting for us to stream again. For me, it's been a little bit of catching up on some of the games that I've been meaning to play. So a little bit of God of War, of course. I find I'm just not very good at it, so I get frustrated and stop.
What difficulty are you on?
I don't know. I think I'm not on the easiest one, and I'm afraid that's where I'm going to end up. So
okay. It can be tough at times. Some of the you just have to learn some of the ins and outs of the enemies.
Yeah, I don't want to be so shameful though, and drop it all the way down. But I'm also getting back into doing the Shadow of War, and that's really cool. Now that the developer, almost a year later, has allowed for the game to be played normally, and not with cash inserted, it's pretty interesting.
Is that out now with the not in cash inserted? Okay.
Yeah. No, that comes out soon.
Huh?
Okay.
Not already.
I've been waiting on that.
So you already can't buy gold, and they're shutting the marketplace down.
Gotcha.
And they've changed it to where everything else is. And I don't know if it's still running or not, but they had the season pass and the extra content on sale for half off. So I took my regular edition and bumped it all the way up to the gold edition for $20. So it's neat. Yeah. So that's been about it for me. I'm doing a lot of work related stuff too, so that keeps me away. But I could tell you about all the development stuff I'm doing. That's been exciting.
So what I've been playing now is
a lot of Spring Boot and hibernating database entities.
Oh my goodness! All right, so
what have you been up to, Andrew?
Well, you were talking about like shaming and like not playing enough God of War. Well, I have not been playing God of War, and I haven't been playing any of the recent games. So I really want to get into those games, like even Horizon Zero Dawn or even Shadow of War. So eventually, possibly. But right now, I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley. It's just so relaxing. There's something about fishing that just
easy game to jump
into. It's so easy. Yeah, it's so easy to get into.
And I feel almost like I left some like important information out because it was obviously a holiday weekend this past weekend, so I was actually out of town, and I took in a movie I promised I would not see. So I did watch Han Solo, and we made our way to Animal Kingdom, and I got to ride that Avatar ride. So I think most of my free gaming time was standing in line waiting for Avatar ride.
Nice.
But it is a 4.5 minute ride, which is kind of surprising.
Wow. Crazy. Maybe we have a little review during that at the very. I don't know.
Sure, I do have a good review of it.
We talk roller coaster.
We talk roller coaster. And then, other than that, Destiny 2. I love my Destiny 2. I can't get enough of that gameplay. That gameplay loop is good, and the grind is real. It's so real because I'm not even. I'm getting really close to the end, but it's still so far away. So
why Bungie has that one dedicated player?
Hey, there's several thousands of us. So that's been me.
Well,
there's dozens of us.
There's dozens of us.
There it is. Dozens of them. Yeah. But I've been a little bit more beta, a little bit more WoW beta. Not a lot. I hit max level. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. And I tried out State of Decay 2 because it came out.
Oh wow. Okay.
Free for Game Pass. Game
Pass
players
right now. Yeah. If you never canceled that from when you played
Sea of Thieves,
you can go try out the State of Decay 2. And or it's only $40, so or $30.
$30, I think. Yeah,
the game is 30. I think the enhanced edition's like 40, but they were giving away those. I shouldn't say giving away, but they were doing those game passes before they announced the whole first party deal. You could buy a whole year for $40 for those. You can't see it anymore, but there was a time.
But other than that, I actually went back and played a little bit of Battlefield 1 since, we had Battlefield 5 being announced. I've been playing a little bit of it.
It's a great game. I love it.
Yeah. It's fun. Sometimes I just get the mood to go around and shoot people. And
it's
a good way to
with those
good way
old
to
style
release
guns that are completely accurate for some reason. But yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so that's good fun stuff. And of course, when it's on Han Solo, and we'll talk about that. But we have some big news to talk about, so I guess we can just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unless you've been living under a rock for the past 24 hours, you probably noticed that Bethesda's been streaming for a long time the last couple of days.
Bethesda's such a troll.
Yeah,
Such a
20
troll.
plus hours, and it was just a screen, a watch, and a Pit Boy, and it said, "Please stand by." You know, the whole Fallout thing. Well, we stood by long enough, and today they showed us a teaser trailer for what is being called Fallout 76. So we skipped 5 through 75 and went straight to 76.
No context. It's not just 76.
It doesn't show much. We see the inside of a vault. You see one person put his Pit Boy on, and he's got a jumpsuit on that says 76 on it. And it cuts off, and I think at the end it might say something at "See you at E3" or something.
Yeah.
And so hype train rolled out of the station. Rumor mill started going, and yeah.
What was its peak people? I think it was like 160K or something
There was
like that.
a lot of people watching nothing.
They're watching absolutely nothing. So much hype for. I mean, it was something at the very end.
I was watching
So-
Co Carnage this morning, and like, he's talking about it, and people like he's making fun of like people pick out every little detail, like, okay, they moved this by a centimeter yesterday, or there's a cupcake on the screen now, and at one time they had plushies in the background, that kind of thing. But,
It tells you how much people
that's when
love
that guy-
Bethesda. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like when that guy from Epic had the fireplace going, and he had like all the
Was
like
that
monsters and
Overwatch?
stuff.
That was Overwatch.
That
Yeah,
was
that's
Overwatch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the
that was
Yep.
good too.
So
That was
yeah,
funny.
you talked about this Fallout video, Fallout 76, and you commented a little bit about what's going on, but I took a little bit deeper dive into the video.
As Rob would.
Yeah,
As Rob
as
would.
I would. So my very first note is this should be called Fallout 5. The fact that they're not calling it Fallout 5 makes me think that this is not a true Fallout 5 sequel to the game that came out a few years ago.
Makes sense.
New Vegas was Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, but that was by a different developer, and
It
this
was.
is
It was by
Bethesda.
Obsidian.
Yeah.
So this is Bethesda. So this is their main wheelhouse.
I think I'm with you
And
on this one though.
There's a couple clues that this is also an Eastern Seaboard release due to a couple of factors.
Take me home, Country Road.
Take Me Home, Country Road, playing in the background, being
Right.
West Virginia or the greater DC area, could be kind of construed from that. So this is leading me to believe that you're probably the rumors about it being a survival game, potentially in the wooded area of Fallout, probably makes a lot of sense. Of course, you'll always have those towns and whatnot, but they'll probably make it more scattered. And I would almost expect it to be similar in a way to Far Cry 5 in terms of its overall layout.
People, they came out and said that, or no one's come out and said it's rumored to be that it's not going to be your traditional RPG experience, and that if you're hoping for that, you're probably going to be disappointed. The way that the base kind of looked, it could be a base builder or a city builder, and I'll kind of get onto why that might be here in a second. Or it could be a Rust clone, or sort of like what Rob was talking about with kind of a survival open world kind of thing.
Don't say they're battle royale.
Yeah,
could
Can't be.
Fallout 76 Battle Royale, 76
Oh,
people
man.
enter the vault, only one leaves.
they could pivot. They could pivot. So there's a couple of other things here. So one of the signs in there says celebrate Reclamation Day.
Yeah. Yep.
So that lets you kind of ties in some theories that like, okay, maybe you're making a more permanent stake in things. So I'm not totally surprised that this might follow some of the kind of the Ark type of world building where you have like permanent settlements on a server. I could certainly see that. And it would lend itself well to at the end of Fallout 4, or I shouldn't say the end, but throughout Fallout 4, you've got your base of
building
operations.
in that, yep.
And
from the
that
trailer,
felt
it
like a
looks-
different game.
Yeah, it looks like from the trailer, it looks like they're using the Fallout 4 engine, at least for the trailer.
It
It
certainly
looked a
looks
little
that
bit
way.
more tone. It looked a little bit more updated.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
We have,
Well, I don't know if any of
years.
that's in-game graphics. I'm
Right.
pretty sure that's all pre-rendered stuff. So,
Oh, okay.
It looks,
Well, I was
it
hoping.
looks very similar.
well, yeah, it looks very similar, but also is very clear because I was able to read a lot of things by pausing. So I did notice that they are talking about the Tricentennial
Yep.
1776 to 2076.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, did you notice on the either on the Pip-Boy or on the computer that it was not the year 2076, it was the year 2102.
Mm-hmm.
So this would actually be 26 years or past that point when this game will actually be going. In fact, specifically October 27th, 2102. So October 27th comes up twice in the trailer, once on the computer, the next time on the Pip-Boy. So I wonder if we're getting a little bit of a sneak preview about release dates or potentially maybe more news.
Man, I don't know how you're getting this so crazy. It's good
Do you
stuff.
want some
So good
background on the Vault 76?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of the 17 original control vaults. So there was no experiments done in this vault. It was purely the people would stay in there and they would leave. It was they were supposed to come out, I think 20 years after the bombs fall is when the doors were supposed to open.
That's when they were supposed to.
And yeah, there's supposed to be 500 inhabitants.
Could be.
Yeah,
I will.
That was in one of the games. I think it was 3. It says there were supposed to be 500 inhabitants. And we only saw one.
I have some suspicion that there is only one, and that there was never more. And to explain that is when it pans over the awards trophies. You might have recognized there's a little area where the camera kind of pans over, and if you pause it, you can read it in surprisingly good detail. So some of the awards that might lend you to believe that it is the only person there is that he won the award for best looking hair. He also won the award for outstanding achievement in the isolation program.
Oh.
Okay.
He got a performance award for being the Vault Hall monitor.
This is great.
He won the cleanest toilet award. So yeah, if you look at the bottom, that is a golden toilet award, and it says cleanest toilet. He also received the bravery award for eating the canned mystery meat experiment. At the bottom of it, it says, "We are glad you are not dead." And he also took first place in the Halloween costume contest. So
Gotcha.
for him to have gotten all these accolades would either make him the most popular person in the vault or the only person in the vault. So I think it's possible that you could see that maybe they're going to be releasing people maybe one at a time, or there might be something where they've blocked people off. So I wouldn't be surprised that it is a something to do with this isolation. I'm not sure how it'll necessarily tie in, but I could see it as a survival type of aspect.
When it did pan
me,
over, like one of the vault spaces where it looked like it was setting up for a base, there was this one scene that was almost obvious that it's like, here's some stuff, you can rearrange it, and this seems like a
tennis court or something
sandbox,
like that?
yeah, like a sandbox area. And then it got to me thinking more about Fallout in general and how it is almost survival RPG like, and they could do something like a State of Decay, where you have to go out, come back to the vault, collect your stuff, and then build up the vault. And that's where I was going. I mean, you guys said it already, but I think that they could do that sort of game too. At least I hope so. It sounds interesting.
I think they're leading that way.
Yeah,
and
I
I
think
think
they'll
it's
take
clear that
elements.
it's not Fallout 5.
Yeah,
Right.
I think they'll take elements from the Fallout Shelter mobile game that came out with the managing of the vault, and they'll probably take stuff from the base building of 4.
Sure.
I think that's probably what we're going to see, or we'll see a Rust or an Ark or a the survival game in that aspect.
That is amazing, guys, that you guys have all those notes and details. Thank you for that. I was out of that, what, a 30
Fallout
second
universe
teaser.
is really cool. So
Oh, yeah. It's great stuff. I have
Yeah,
another
it's good.
universe that we're really, really into, though.
It's slightly different.
Slightly different.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Is it though? It could be post-apocalyptic.
It could be post-apocalyptic.
If you haven't caught on yet, we're talking about Pokemon. So yesterday we had a announcement for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee edition, and we've seen
Interesting
a trailer
choices.
for it. Yep. But want to go ahead and put this out there before people go, what? This is not the Pokemon Switch game that we saw at the last E3. This is a different Pokemon game. That Pokemon game will still come out next fall, and it'll be the next generation. This game, however, kind of looks like a remake of Yellow. They've come out and said it's not though, but it is heavily influenced. It has the the Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee will follow you around. Set in Kanto, got the original 151, and the Alolan forms from the last game, where they're like in Hawaii, so they have like a more they have like different shapes. Like there's the Executor is like a palm tree, and there's like a Frost Vulpix and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It has it's got the capture system similar to Pokemon Go. Actually, I think it's the exact same capture system. That's what it looked like in the trailer, anyway. But it is supposed to be an RPG. They said this is supposed to be for the people who got into Go and never really played any other Pokemon games. So this isn't really for the hardcore Pokemon fans out there. This is more for people who just are getting into it.
I hope I don't know anyone like that. Like their only real exposure to Pokemon is Pokemon Go. I played Omega a little bit. That was really the only one I got into, mainly because it just wasn't of my age. Mm-hmm. Like when it came out, it was like, oh, that's for kids, and like, later on. But Omega was fun. Like I enjoyed playing through that. Yeah,
it's being developed by Game Freak and not Niantic or whatever. Pokemon
the originals
so
right
this
there.
This is the original play. This is the original team. But it does have a compatibility with Go, where you can take your Pokemon you've caught in Go, put them in Let's Go, and then as you progress through the game, you can come across them and recapture them inside the Switch version.
Awesome. My 100 Magic Carp have something to do now.
Yeah. This game does have battling, so there is battling. There's trading.
Good.
And it does have something we've never seen before with local co-op, where you can run through the region with somebody else on your couch.
Oh, that's nice.
They pick up another Joy-Con, you have the other one, and you both run around, and has double battle system, that kind of thing.
So this is still on the Switch, it's just not Pokemon
Switch. So it's not Pokemon Switch, but it is on the Switch. Yep.
Okay.
They took away breeding. There is no more catching eggs, or not catching eggs, but having eggs and
incubating them and then walking around and stuff like that. Okay, yeah,
but,
that makes sense.
There still will be trading and battling over the internet, over Wi-Fi. So it's not just local co-op. But they said there's not going to be any kind of competitive matchmaking or that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
It's set to release in November, and it will come with a Pokeball Joy-Con, or not come with one. You can buy it separately. It's a Pokeball Joy-Con that you can put on your wrist and pretend to throw at the screen to catch the Pokemon, and you can load Pokemon into it and take them. Like if you go out eat dinner somewhere, I don't know why you did this, but you can take them with you. And back when Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, they had the step counter where you can upload Pokemon to your step counter. They would get experience or how many steps you take.
Right.
This is just like that. But it's a Joy-Con accessory, so you link it to your Switch just like you would a Joy-Con, and it acts like a controller. So I think it's the first non-Joy-Con for the Switch that acts that way.
That I can think of, yeah, probably. The 3DS used to do that though, where you would just walk around with it, and it would connect to other people's 3DSs if it found something, and it would just send like a little message back and forth, like you met this person, or like you walked by this guy or something like that, and it would be like a little hello or something, or maybe like there's a little gift or something waiting for you. So I'd encourage you to carry it around, and it did do like a little step counter. So yeah, I think that's cool.
So no price given,
no,
and no microtransactions as far as we know, because
it's not Nintendo. I don't see it.
But well, I mean, Pokemon Go itself does have it, but this is what it is. It's like a mashup, right?
But this is I think the only things it takes from Go is the whole catching system.
The catching, you spin the ball and you curve it or whatever.
This is supposed to be an RPG, so I'm expecting to still have shops where you buy your Pokeballs and that kind of thing. And
all right,
it's got a storyline to it. Apparently, they said that Red and Blue from the original games will be in it, and they will play a part in the story somehow.
Nice.
I'm more interested now. Yeah. I'm way more interested. That's my job.
I'll probably check it out to see what it is. But
it's a Switch game,
Pokemon.
So yeah.
Pokemon Let's Go.
Cool.
Yep. And I have one more big drop to drop on you guys.
Big drop. Oh.
Team Sonic Racing. The teaser trailer dropped because I think Walmart accidentally listed it for pre-order or something. and they're like, well, no one knew about this now, so we got to drop a teaser.
Thanks,
But
man.
it looks like a realistic, and I say realistic because the cars and the environment looked quote unquote realistic kart racing game.
Did you play the previous one, Sonic
No,
All Stars
I don't-
Racing?
No, don't do that.
It was good. It came out on the Wii U, and I think some of the other consoles. But what was at first people didn't like it because you would go from like racing on wheels, and then it would do this little like hover thing, and people were like,
Is that
oh,
what-
that's so stupid. And
Mario
then
Kart 8 does.
well,
And
Mario
guess
Kart
what?
8
Yeah.
did it after
Oh,
Sonic Racing.
Uh,
Yeah, Sonic
people
Racing
loved
did
it.
it first.
Innovative.
Yeah,
it's fun now.
so you-
Nintendo can do that.
right. Yeah, your
Yeah.
car like would transform in that one. So when it says more realistic, I'm wondering if they're going to get away from that hover aspect. Now,
Mhm.
in Sonic Racing, you could hover, but then it would just have you hovering on like water or like a little.
Right.
Like Mario took it where you'd go vertical and like up
Mhm.
and down, and like they really messed with the vertigo side of things. You don't really see that in Sonic Racing. So, I mean, it might be an interesting game to keep an eye out for, but
Yeah,
I would-
it'll be on all consoles, not just Switch.
yeah, and usually it's a value title too. I think
yeah.
you can get it like $30 pretty usually.
So if you're into that, there's that coming.
Yeah, cool.
If you can't get
Um,
enough kart racing, that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know a game that has kart racing?
It
Or at
should
least
have
carts?
kart racing. It should.
It might make it a little bit better. But today, when I got home, I turned on Twitch and saw the PUBG Rivals series, and just about everyone was playing. Just a quick overview of like the people I'm following. Dr. Disrespect was on there, Anthony Kongfon, Grims, Shroud, Lupo, Vis from TSM,
Wow.
Swiftdoor, and even Disguised Toast were all playing on teams against other teams. So it was like Doc and Vis, and then like Grims and Anthony, and they were doing this special variation of PUBG that I've never really seen before, but I think they've done before, where you have a very small circle, and you respawn after you die.
Huh.
And the point is you play until the timer runs out for the map. So it might be like a 20-minute map, but if you die, you just respawn and come back down. And the scoring is
so you
based
come
on
back
number
down.
of kills. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the scoring is based on how many kills you got. And you always land with a weapon. So it'll be like a shotgun or, something else. So
That's cool.
I don't think they had a lot of the sniper rifles or anything. I think it was all that medium range type of weapons. I saw a lot of shotguns in the gameplay, but it made for some really intense, fast action. And I even wrote down like high momentum, impactful action consisting of speed and violence. So
Right
trying to
up
sound
Doc's
a little,
alley.
yeah, trying to sound a little bit like Doc there, but that was it seemed like that was a more fun game to watch. So if anyone caught it, hopefully you enjoyed it, and then let us know what you thought.
Yeah, maybe it'd be, if it's popular enough, maybe it'd be something they might include as a game mode.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
Maybe that was their ploy to have everyone watch it, see what they think, like get the
Maybe.
general interest, and then release it depending on what,
Yeah.
what was in the chat.
Well, there was a Fortnite Invitational just a week ago, so I'm wondering if it's not in response to that, or maybe a little bit more to go along with that.
Cool.
Just,
PUBG in the news, not Fortnite.
yeah.
Take that,
Yeah.
Fortnite.
To tag onto the PUBG stuff, speaking of Doc and Shroud, they're getting 2 custom weapon skins in the game with their community logos and associated colors and stuff. So I don't think anybody else has their own weapon skins in the game, do they?
think
They're
so.
the 2 most popular streamers of it, and they've been pretty faithful. I mean, everyone else has gone Fortnite, and Doc will do Fortnite from time to time, and Shroud occasionally, but
Even though
they're
Doc
PUBG
trash
people.
talks it a lot, they're PUBG people.
Yeah. Well, Doc wants it to be a better game than it is, and
Yeah.
I think everyone can agree that it's not a good enough game as it stands.
It's got a high potential.
Yeah, a lot of potential, and it can be a lot of fun.
PUBG.
So I think that's it for news. We got any reviews out there on some games?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I play a little bit of State of Decay 2, so I want to give a quick talk about that. Precursor, I've never played the first one, so I don't know what was in the first one and what's improvements, that kind of thing. But I'm just going to talk about it in general as it is. It's an open world sandbox game. If you don't already know what State of Decay 2, filled with zombies. It's got a base building aspect to it where you have to get resources, food, gas, bullets, building resources, meds, that kind of thing. And those are used daily because people use things apparently, even in an apocalypse. But you can do upgrades on your buildings, put power in them, run water in them. You have to build a toilet, which is really inconvenient because it takes the whole space up. Because apparently people don't know how to use other toilets. Beds, you gotta have beds for people to sleep in. So there's a lot of managing resources, base building kind of thing. And apparently, if you have too much stuff going on, that makes noise and actually draws zombies to your base, and you have to hold off a wave of zombies, kind of thing. Combat isn't too deep. But it is just a zombie game, so you just press the melee button, you hit the zombie in the head, and you might have to hit him a couple times to kill the zombie. The shooting is just aiming down the sight, and then pulling the trigger to shoot them. It's not deep there. But I have to say that, as simplistic as it sounds, if you get a couple of zombies on top of you, that could be it. Because they can be pretty deadly in groups, which is, one would think so in a real situation. I haven't come across a lot of variants so far, but I have seen a couple different variants of zombies. So it's not just your typical stumbling one or one that chases you. There's plague zombies that have a plague, and they're the ones that bite you, and your character gets sick and will develop symptoms over time and die if they're not cured from the plague. There's ones that scream and draw other zombies into it and create hordes. There's a feral one that jumps around, and I watched someone. Zombie. Yeah, I watched someone fight it, and it was like as soon as I aimed at it, it just jumped out of the shot, and you're just like, oh my god! And they actually had to run back to their base while it chased them, and even with like 6 other people firing and hitting the zombie, it took forever for this thing to go down.
So I was really interested in watching this game because I played a little bit of State of Decay 1. It wasn't my kind of game, but I at least played it for like 2 hours and see what it was about. And then I could get interested in the gameplay loop if it was good. So that's why I looked into playing it a little bit and see if they changed a little bit more of that gameplay loop. And when I was watching the gameplay loop seems really interesting. It's like a sandbox. You drop into it, right? You're building your base, but you have to go out and get these resources. And then after that, you have people to take care of. There's quests. Yep. And then of course the base building aspect of like what to choose and how it helps you. Right. Those things are really interesting to me. So it's almost like a spec tree of like picking out what you want to do. It's
not just one base. If you fill one base out and you're like, I really need more space, you can find a bigger, more room with more slots on it, move to that base instead and build it up. I don't know if the outpost system is new, but you can have outposts outside of your main base that benefit you, like with supplies in a way.
Mm-hmm. But then how about like the gameplay loop in general? For you, was it a lot of fun?
Yeah, it's really. I mean, I kind of like the whole base building and resource management type of games.
Yeah.
So I don't want to invest a lot of time into it because I couldn't sit there and play it forever. Mm-hmm. But I can get into it for a little bit and go off and have a little bit of fun and be like, all right, that's enough of that. I'm gonna go do something else now. But it's fun for what it is, especially with Game Pass. Not costing you can just pay your $10 a month, or like Rob said, have the year thing going, and it's it's good for that. I definitely want to pay $60 for it. The 30 is probably a good price for what it is. It's not a typical indie game, but it has a lot of that indie feel to it.
I was going to ask about that. So that indie feel, does that mean it's like early access type of feel, like it's a little buggy?
Not in that. I haven't experienced a lot of bugs besides a gate. Like the gates will look closed, but they're actually open, and vice versa. That's the only thing
That's not too bad. That's not too
in
bad.
A zombie game, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's true. You're running away. You're right.
No, you're trying to keep them out of your base, and then
unfortunately,
just walk through the gate.
It just takes zombies a couple hits on the gate, and the gate just swings open anyway. So it's not too big. But this one does add multiplayer. I don't think the first one had multiplayer. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, this multiplayer is much like Far Cry 5 in that your friend joins in, he helps you, and once he leaves, he basically gets nothing for the time he spent with you.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there is no I get progress or anything like that. I think there's an influence system where his character that he plays as gains influence that he can take back to his other one, but which is like just a rep system, not really an XP or anything like that. But yeah, that's all you get from it. There's no like there's no cooperative building of bases. You join and you're in your friend's game, and you're just in your friend's game to help them progress their stuff, which I think is what exactly Far Cry 5 was.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Hold on, guys. Got some breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. We have a VIP in the stream. Thrust has joined.
He made it.
Thrust. He made it. Welcome, Thrust.
Thrust, welcome. It's good to have you.
Breaking news.
We're just getting finished with our game reviews for State of Decay 2.
Yeah.
So overall, what do you want to give it?
I give it probably a 6.5.
Is it too early?
Just being entertaining.
Okay, 6.5. But do you feel like that could be a little early to say?
Maybe. I haven't put a lot of hours into it. Like I said, I haven't even seen a lot of the more complex zombie things. I'm still at my first base. But to add on a little bit, if you clear, like there's I think 3 or 4 maps, and once you clear one map, you actually load up in a car, go to the next map, and you clear that map. So I guess really the end of the game, the goal of the game is to clear all the maps out. So I guess there is a way, there is a overall goal. It's not just jump in, have fun, like Sea of Thieves kind of gameplay. There is a end goal in mind to clear everything out. So
okay,
but yeah, it's I say 6.5 just because I'm not saying it's not an outstanding game. It's not God of War tier. But it is, it's fun to jump in and play for a little bit. It's probably what I would have gave Sea of Thieves.
Might you say above average?
Above average, yeah.
There we go.
All right. Cool. So we have other games that came out this week.
A little review corner. It seems like we've got.
I think I want to keep this up too. It may be something good because
have we played any of these, or are these all just?
No, I haven't played any of these. I've been watching Dark Souls Remastered, but I do want to inform people about games that have coming out this week and what their scores are in Metacritic. And I know this may be controversial, but I go by IGN stuff because I think they align with my tastes, but that may not align with other people's tastes. But I put it here anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. IGN's a huge soulless corporation, so
yeah, so there's that aspect over there, and then there's my aspect where I actually read the reviews and I think that's some of them pretty good. So for instance, Detroit Become Human came out. It's on PS4. It's an exclusive. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10. Metacritic 79. That's a critic score, and then 8.7 for the user score.
So nearly identical.
I would say nearly identical. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't read the reviews and such because I don't really want to spoil it too much for me in case I want to play that eventually. But those are your scores. Another game that came out for all platforms, meaning PC, Switch, PS4, Xbox One, Yoku's Island Express. Now this, you may have no idea what this is about, but it's seems to be a fairly popular game and is a very different game. I want to read the description before I give you the score. Yoku's Island Express is an open-world, Metroidvania-style pinball adventure, seamlessly blending platform navigation with pinball mechanics across a large open world. So
that could be good.
Yeah,
there was a war game. There was a war game that came out that utilized the Donkey Kong controller from the
drum
GameCube.
One?
Yeah, and you could do the drums. Yeah, and it would throw the like the boulders at the castle.
This sounds like they had a hat and they're like, write down genres on the hat, and we're gonna make a game based on whatever we pull out of this hat.
That sounds awesome.
Pull the genre out of the hat. Open world. Okay, what's next? Metroidvania. All right, one more. Pinball.
And you see like everyone's eyes just like go to the ground when pinball comes out. Like, oh, who put that in there?
That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, even like thinking back of a pinball game, other than actual pinball machines, it's like Pokemon Pinball, which was an amazing game back when. And if you're thinking about it, like I would go for another pinball game, see how that's about. So Yoku's Island Express for what the scores were across the board. I I just did Metacritic, which is 82 for critic score and 8.2 for user. That's exactly the same, basically.
Okay.
So, and it's on the Switch, which also, for me, I may really consider that.
Are they going to put Pinball FX on the Switch, or is it already? Like,
I don't know. All right.
Pinball FX is my jam. That's the one I like to play.
And maybe on the... I know there's a good one on mobile. So,
Okay.
So, last one is Dark Souls Remastered. It's a big one, and I've personally been watching Cove stream it, and there's like 14,000 people watching. So you know that there is a following still for Dark Souls and this game. For IGN, they gave it a 9 out of 10. So that's an outstanding, excellent score right there. Metacritic, 86 for critic score. And here's the kicker. I think this might be trolling or something like that. I don't really know. But 6.2 for user scores.
Well, here's the thing. That's probably mostly PC users, and Dark Souls Remastered is just an HD texture mod on top of the already existing game. From what I understand, some of the same bugs that burden the first one are still in this remastered edition.
Right.
There's still hackers on the online play. They didn't change that. They couldn't fix the hacking. That's still there. And so this game looks like just a fresh coat of paint on a pre-existing game was already on the market.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it looks kind of dated. Like
It doesn't even look like Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, it's not great. And the remastered part for me, I mean, I was never into these before, so I couldn't even begin to tell you. But I remember they always looked a little muddy, and this still looks pretty muddy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But 9 out of 10 for IGN, and of course the critics giving a high score, maybe to appease like the Dark Souls people all across the board. But then of course the real Dark Souls people are pretty upset about it. It seems like you said.
They're probably just basing that off of what the original game got, and not taking it as this is supposed to be a remastered version of it.
Interesting context. So yeah, if anyone out there is playing Dark Souls Remastered and like to give and played both games of the previous and this one, I'd like to hear a little bit about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
and how it compares to the newer versions of either Bloodborne or maybe Dark Souls 3, and just what what your thoughts are. Has it evolved so much that Dark Souls 1 is still relevant? I would think it'd be kind of tough to be so, even with a new coat of paint.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd like to hear about that as well. So what's next on the agenda?
Just throw it out there.
Oh, sure.
Share it. Or Blaze.
Blaze.
He informed us there is a new beta build for WoW out right now. So there's some WoW news on that.
Huh.
Yeah, I just want to talk just real quick on there. I did hit 120. I didn't even finish 2 whole leveling zones. So I don't know if the speed on which leveling will stay the same, or if maybe I just did way too many quests in both zones and didn't spread it out evenly enough.
Or maybe they gave you an XP boost for beta.
Maybe.
Could be.
Maybe. But I was in war mode, so I did have the 15%. But when I hit max level, I turned that off because I couldn't do any of the war campaign stuff without getting completely trolled by the other faction. And there's at max level on beta, there's really no point of having it on. It's like extra gold, and I don't really care about gold in beta. Extra AP, which it isn't even that much right now. So max level war mode is kind of, I think even Tally said this on one of his streams, that max level war mode is kind of meh at best. But I still haven't tried a lot of in-game content yet, and I haven't started the Horde, but I'll talk about maybe that later. But let's talk about something now that we teased a little bit earlier with Star Wars. So, we had Solo come out this weekend, and I don't know if Rob went to go see it after my recommendation of it, but I love this movie. So, I don't know. What did you think about it, Rob?
Why don't you continue with what you want to say about it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I'll pick up after you.
The reason I probably loved it as much as I do is because of how bad of a taste The Last Jedi left in my mouth.
Okay. All right.
I was really sad. I didn't have high expectations for this movie like I did for Jedi. I really had really high expectations for The Last Jedi. And with Solo, I was expecting maybe a mediocre movie, maybe even a bad one. But so maybe that even played a part into it. I didn't have too high of expectations to be let down. When it first starts off, I have to say it feels like a different movie from what the rest of the movie is, and that may be because of the whole director swap they had in the middle of developing this. It's a little bit silly, and I know Rob probably knows what I'm talking about. Right before it really the main conflict really takes off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I like this movie much like I liked Ant-Man because it's a heist movie, and that kind of breaks the mold of what we've seen before. When Ant-Man, there was this, your normal superhero movies, and this one, and then Ant-Man was like, they're in a heist, they're stealing stuff, and Solo's kind of the same way. It's they're heist, they're stealing stuff. It's Han Solo. It's about Han Solo, and it's not, and it never mentions the Force or Jedis at all in the entirety of the movie.
That's interesting.
That's not true.
Oh.
Is it actually?
There's a. I don't want to get into it, but there's a certain something at the end of the movie that's.
I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about. I know what you're talking about, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
They don't ever talk about it. There's no mention of the Force ever.
That is true. They do not talk about it.
There's no mention. Like I think in every single movie, even Rogue One, the Force. Of course, in Rogue One, the Force is mentioned, but this one, there's not. It's more focused on, post. Post Empire, what's going on with the world after the Empire takes over. I think it puts a fresh face on what they can do with it. It had a lot of planets, a lot of different aliens. It showed kind of a different side of the Empire you don't normally see in the other films, and I kind of like that. I'm a big Empire fan, so I liked it a lot. And I think that both actors, Eldon, he played a good Han Solo, and Donald Glover was amazing as Lando, I think. And I think their mannerisms for the character, were down pat. They had the little quirks about them, and actually played really well on screen together. But yeah, that's what I think about it. So, Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to echo a lot of the same stuff. I went in with low expectations. The main story is we went to Disney Springs this past weekend for my wife's and I anniversary, and we wanted to kind of hang out down there. And Tropical Storm Alberto had some other ideas about our spending some time outside. So we end up looking for cover, and hey, guess what? Solo is not sold out. We can easily get into a seat. And it seemed like it was probably true nationwide because the box office for this was not very good.
Nope.
So I went in there kind of feeling like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm not going to be devastated if this is not good. And I will say it's probably one of the most fun experiences I've had watching a Star Wars movie. It's easily, it's so enjoyable because it's so lighthearted in a lot of ways. And I don't know if that's a reflection of Ron Howard or Miller and Lord, the Lego Batman people that had previously been the directors before they got kicked off. So there's a lot of comedy and a lot of interesting sequences. But it is very basic in terms of plot line and any kind of story twist. You're not going to be totally thrown off by some big reveals and stuff towards the end. There is a part that looks like it's stripped straight out of Destiny.
I'm interested.
The end of the movie. There are characters that look like they could be hunters or titans from Destiny running around, which was pretty cool to see a different aspect.
Yeah,
what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Yeah, different aspect of the Star Wars universe, and multiple heists in the movie.
Yeah, multiple heists, not just one big heist.
Yeah. Now, all of this makes me think, okay, this was better than I thought it was going to be, but I would say I'm close to loving this movie because of Donald Glover and his spot-on impersonation of Lando Calrissian. He sounds just like Billy D. Williams, and he's got that voice like down pat. And not to spoil it too much, but he's got a cape closet on the Millennium Falcon where he keeps all of his capes. And the humor is just spot on for it. So it really comes down to how much can you forget that Harrison Ford was Han Solo and realize like someone else can be Han Solo too. And if you can get past that, I think you'll enjoy it. I wouldn't go in there thinking you're going to see, another Empire, but it's similar to another Rogue One.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good news for me, for someone that hasn't watched it. But also, I'm more interested in like since it's a Solo movie and like a prequel to like the lore of Solo, am I going to feel nostalgic for, you know, Chewie, these characters, and like Millennium Falcon, all these good things? Do they bring a lot of homage to all of those things?
There's a lot of fan service.
You
Okay,
want to go
great.
back and watch the other ones.
Nice,
They
that's good
throw
stuff.
a lot. They pepper a lot of like little bitty things in. I think they mentioned Bosk at one point, which was one of the bounty hunters from Return of the Jedi. There's a lot of things that you can pick up on if you're a big Star Wars.
Very cool. Very cool.
Now, I will say it is not a perfect story. There are parts where it's just like, okay, let's get it moving along. But there's enough in there. I think Woody Harrelson's really good. I think his gunslinging is cool. And I think the way that Han Solo becomes Han Solo, because this is really how he goes from street urchin. It's almost like Aladdin, right? It's almost like that's the story.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
So
He
it kind of
sings,
follows some of
Street
that.
rat.
Minus the genie. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. There's L3 in there. It's kind of a genie-like. So, and there's, I will also say L3 was probably second favorite character in there for me.
If you like what was the name of the robot from Rogue One? If you like that robot, you'll like L3 in the
Alan Tudyk bot.
Alan Tudyk bot.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw it up at a 7.5 out of 10, which is gonna be like, it's not in that great territory, but it's definitely better than your average. I put it's a good movie, and I think if you go in thinking, hey, I'd like to see a good movie, I don't think you'll be totally disappointed with it. Now, if you're looking for a Star Wars saga, you're probably gonna be a little disappointed, except for the last 5 minutes of the movie where they do a bunch of world building in 5 minutes.
That's really, I mean, it blew my mind, but I would say I would give it an 8. So.
Oh, you said you loved it, so I would have thought you would have had a little
I
higher than that.
Well, I graded on, I guess, being critical from it, but when I put it on a list, I guess that's more about entertainment. And my list was more.
All right. Well, let's talk about your list and some concerns I have about this, and I think Thrust kind of shares some of my concerns. So I'm glad he's here to back me up. What's
the concerns?
So let's read off your list real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So your number 1 is Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
And I agree with you on that, and I think any sane Star Wars fan is also going to agree with that. That's pretty easy. Your number 2, though, had me scratching my head. Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
So the third prequel.
Yep.
Was your second best Star Wars movie.
I really enjoy that film a lot.
Okay.
Keep going.
There's a part where Ewan McGregor gets thrown across the ground like a rag doll, and then a bridge falls on his head.
That's the second one.
No, that's the third one. It's the beginning.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
And it looks so corny, and it takes me out of the movie forever. Like, I'll always think of that part when I think of that movie. Also, Obi-Wan Kenobi cut his friend's legs and arms off and left them to die next to lava.
Yeah.
That's not exactly a heroic thing to do.
I mean, think of the circumstances.
And
I
then
would have
he
done the
steals
same
his
thing.
lightsaber at the end.
Yep. I mean, you got to tie it into the fourth one somehow.
All right. Okay. So my number 2 was A New Hope. So I like the old retro, the original.
I can see why.
Second one.
I don't know. With the other ones, I like A New Hope, but with all the other ones, I don't know. It's hard to put A New Hope so high when you have all these other ones out. Because
I think because it started so much and it feels so pure as far as a Star Wars experience, and that's just why I'm putting it there. Of course, it's all in context
right. It's
with
all
everyone else.
prep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Ewoks, so
Well, we're not there yet, and that might be a bit of a surprise as we go on. So number 3 for Mr. Brandon here was Solo.
Yep.
So Solo logged in at number 3 out of 10 all-time Star Wars best movies. I put Force Awakens.
Out of movies I enjoy.
Yeah, or movies you enjoy. So I put Force Awakens. I thought The Force Awakens solidly was my number 3 overall. So that puts 2 of the originals, followed by The Force Awakens.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the new sequel so far, and Force Awakens to me felt like A New Hope.
Right. Which, as you can see, why I would put it up so high, having liked A New Hope. So So number 4, you had Rogue One. And on this, we're going to agree. Rogue One, I think, is the 4th best Star Wars movie. It's got a lot of fan service, and there are some corny parts, but overall, it's very enjoyable. And I think it's a solid movie end to end, although there's certainly some weaknesses when it comes to some of the characters. Like, you just didn't care about a lot of the Rogue One characters at the end of it.
No, you can't really.
Right. For number 5, you had The Phantom Menace, which made my brain explode a little bit.
I love The Phantom. I don't know why people hate on The Phantom Menace.
I like
much.
The Phantom Menace too. I like it
At number 5, that means it is better than 5 other Star Wars movies. I can't, in my heart of hearts, I can't.
Like I just said, I don't like the sequels. So.
All right, so for number 5, I have The Last Jedi. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a good but challenging movie, and it kind of took expectations and, of course, spun them around. So it was a very brave movie, and for that, I'm going to give them credit. It also has my favorite scene of any Star Wars movie of all time, and that, as we all know, is the jump to hyperspace through the Dreadnought.
That's cool.
It was pretty amazing. Number 6, you have Return of the Jedi, which I also have number 6. It wasn't great. We're starting to the curve is going down a little bit, but we're still in good Star Wars movie territory.
I think all Star Wars movies are good.
Yeah. Well, I don't totally agree with you. This is where I have good but flawed, and that's going to take number 7, which you had as A New Hope. That's where I put Solo. So Solo to me is the number 7 overall Star Wars movie, which shows you just how strong the Star Wars franchise is, because I consider everything Solo and above to be good movies. So from that point, you'll notice I haven't mentioned any of the prequels yet. At number 8, you had The Force Awakens. And for number 8, I have Revenge of the Sith. I probably could have bumped that over Solo, but there's just enough on the Return of the Sith that I just didn't love. Especially that end sequence. I felt like Obi-Wan wasn't enough of a hero, and he wasn't the same guy that Alex Guinness was at the beginning of A New Hope. Especially when you're thinking about how he would reminisce about his old friend Anakin Skywalker, and then cut off his arms and legs and left him to die.
Well, I mean, I don't want to debate too much on that, but at that point, was he Anakin anymore, or was he Darth Vader? At that point in the film.
So in Star Wars: A New Hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi challenges him that there's still good in you. I believe that, and he did not necessarily believe that when he left him by the lava to die with no legs and arms. So it's
this could be a whole other episode, I'm sure.
We're going to have the Kenobi movie. Maybe something in that Kenobi movie will.
Yeah. I would be interested to see it. Maybe how he reconciles. I hope he's just super guilty about it, because that was a dick thing to do. Sorry, not a very Jedi-like thing to do, despite whatever it might have been. They were like brothers, I would led to believe, or even father and son type of relationship. And not so much. Not so much. So just to wrap it up, we're nearing the end here. At number 9, I had Phantom Menace. You had The Last Jedi. Obviously, you really disliked that. And we both agree on Attack of the Clones as the worst overall Star Wars movie outside of a Star Wars holiday special. And even if you watched the movie.
There probably was an Ewok film somewhere there too, but I wanted to give mine just rundown. I'm not going to explain it, but 5, 6, Force Awakens, 4, Rogue One, 1, 3, The Last Jedi, and then 2. That's my breakdown.
I like that we have a lot of all 3 of us have very similar placings, but in the middle it's kind of a little flopped in places.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think that's good, because there's always open for debate on Star Wars. But I think we can all agree we all love Star Wars. We're Star Wars fans, so but. The prequels, they hurt me.
Blaze say Clones is number 1.
2 prequels.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's a good Star Wars talk, though. Good Star Wars talk.
Good stuff.
Excellent. Yeah, cool. So, not a lot of TV news this week. So, do we just want to jump straight into comics?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into our comic stuff.
Cool. So in keeping with my theme, I'm going to review a series from Marvel, released in 2016, called Han Solo. So somewhat fitting, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was a comic series released that placed itself in between episode 4 and episode 5. So it was after Han has met Leia and Luke, but before the events of Empire Strikes Back.
When he really doesn't consider himself part of the rebellion.
Right. Well, at this point, and I'll tell you the general gist of this whole comic series is Han Solo going from smuggler and mercenary to having feelings that he might have a place within this rebellion. So he's torn, and it kind of shows some of that struggle there. So it's kind of a character study, and I like when they decompose characters and put them out in different places. I think we talked a little bit about back when I did the Thor and Hulk buddy up movie or buddy up series, where they were kind of showing like the weaknesses and the strengths of each of them. It kind of does something similar here. So the way it starts off is Han is approached on a planet. He's in a cantina, and he recognizes some people that he saw on the last planet. So he says, the only thing you do when you see people that you recognize from the last planet is run, because you know that they're looking for you. So, of course, they catch him, and it turns out that they're from Leia. And Leia is summoning him to come and report back because they have need of his help. So at this point, this is before, the hooking up of Leia and Han. So they haven't really become an item yet. So at this point, there's still a little bit of that tension, but nothing's actually there yet. So she calls them all the way back to the Rebel base, and she asks if they can borrow the Millennium Falcon. And he basically says what you might expect Han Solo to say is, I am the only one that drives this thing. No one else is taking.
Yep.
So
that makes sense.
they say, well, okay, well, there's a mission that goes along with this, and you'd have to agree to do this. So there are 3 informants that happen to be on some planets that are along the line of a great race, which is known as the Dragon's Void. And it's an intergalactic race that's done every space year, I guess. And it goes basically from planet to planet, and it's whoever survives through and makes it past the finish line on the last day. So it's a multi-day race, and they take pauses at each planet. So they do that. It's kind of a weird race that you stop, but that is what happens. So they stop, and at each planet, he has to locate one of the informants. So he's what he determines as he's rescuing these informants is that one of them is actually a double agent. So he's trying to. So he can either figure out who the double agent is, or he can focus on the race. So it really comes down to where is his priorities. Is he with the rebellion, or is he in it for the glory? Because if he wins this race, he still gets all the fame and glory and money that goes along with winning the race.
Mm-hmm.
But if he, devotes time towards, actually solving the mystery, it takes him out of winning this race. So it's an interesting dynamic. It's 4 comics. So only about 88 pages or so of overall story. It is a little silly. I think it's written for maybe a little bit like a young adult audience, maybe definitely young adult is where I'd place it. But it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's got good art, and it's pretty classic Han. So if you like his mannerisms, you'll like him in this story. And for that, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 overall. So I think it's in that, it's good, and I think it's deserving of your time. And to help celebrate the new movie coming out, it's, of course, on Comixology Unlimited. If you didn't somehow already snag it for $1 from Amazon during one of the previous sales.
Oh, nice.
How are we not sponsored by Comixology yet? They get a plug every episode.
They're so cheap. And for everyone listening, Comixology is just the way that I consume comics. If you have a friendly local comic store that you go to, more power to you. I don't have one around here to go to that's reasonable for me to actually go to. So I have to consume things digitally. That's that's really the only way that I'm able to do so. But if you're interested in getting into comics, or you're thinking about just checking some out, the Unlimited is a great way to just read basically have a library of thousands of comics available to you, and then you get an opportunity to kind of get ones recommended to you after you read and review the ones that you look at. So I think the important message is get into comics and start reading comics any way that you can. And if you have a preferred way of doing it, that's great. But overall, the entire industry does better if more people are reading. So hopefully more people read however you can.
Good stuff.
And we're promoting this by having Rob doing the reviews, and we love to hear all of this stuff, especially with his timely choices with
Yeah,
what
it's
comics
always
he reads.
timely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I don't know what it'll be going forward, considering our.
Well, I'm taking some recommendations, and actually, someone asked me to review my series that is actually. I don't want to spoil it, so I won't say what I think of the series yet, but a series I've read before.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that next week.
Like it.
We're pretty close on time. Do we want to do 20 questions, or
I think we should.
you think we
Just
should
bring it back, and we have some
been a
chat
while.
people. We have some chat too, so they
Yeah.
can help us out.
Add in here. So yeah, I guess I have a game in mind. So I guess we take it away.
Awesome. All right. So let's do what we normally do. Let's get a year on this thing. So was this put out after the year 2000?
No.
Right.
Uh,
Is this after? I mean, we can always assume that it's like not. It's not an old like Atari or anything like that. Maybe 1995 after. Is it? Yeah, it's 1995 after. After
Yes.
1995. Okay. So we're thinking Super NES, N64. that sort of thing.
I think Super NES is probably before that. 95 puts it closer to the Nintendo 64 range.
Okay. And then
So I think-
PlayStation, the PlayStation era.
Yeah, obviously PlayStation, Saturn if he rolls that way. I don't think he does.
Does anyone?
I did not. No, I wish I did though.
Right.
I don't roll that way.
There we go. Hey, there's already a hint there.
All right, let's get a let's find out. Okay, is this an exclusive? Is this exclusive to a platform?
Yes.
Okay.
Yo.
That helps.
Is
So
it
which one?
exclusive to a Nintendo platform?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. Did this come out on the Nintendo 64?
No.
Okay.
Handheld
All right. Handheld.
or Virtual Boy?
Over. Of course, we can't forget Virtual Boy. We can't.
Right.
Do we want to ask for the game? It's at that time Game Boy Advanced, right? I assume. I think it was. I'm gonna say it was. But
Game Boy
we
Advance
can,
was 2002, 2001, 2002. Probably maybe 2000. Yeah.
All right. So the original Game Boy is what you're saying. Okay.
I'm gonna guess this is probably Game Boy Color.
Color.
Yeah.
So I don't want to ask that question. Maybe go
I
with
think
genre.
we should. I
You
think we should
wanna-
ask that- Yeah.
You want to lock it down? All right.
Yeah,
This is
I
for
think
the
we
Game
should.
Boy Color.
This is not for the Game Boy Color.
Oh, maybe. I don't think it was Advance. Chat, help us out. Was Advance before
Google it for
2000?
us.
Do not. Yeah, this needs to be your own.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, hey,
Your own knowledge.
what's out there? Rob is the cutest.
From a guy who would really know.
Hey, the name is Hey, You're Really Cute.
Hey, you're really cute. Rob is cutest.
Rob is cutest.
Oh,
All
that's
right,
great.
all right. So yeah, this is playing a game with 20 questions, making sure that, of course, don't Google it. Kind of ruins the fun. But we're searching for the Nintendo platform in after 95, before 2000. It's not N64 and it's not Game Boy Color. So if you can help us out there, I was saying Game Boy Advance, but I don't know. I thought it came out before
So
that.
Nintendo platform is well. I mean, it could be. Well, you went 95, so I mean, I guess it could be at the tail end
At
of
SNES.
SNES. Yeah,
It could be.
yeah. Let's ask.
Go for it.
Okay, was it on the Super Nintendo?
It was not.
See, oh,
We're getting
man.
tricked. We're getting tricked so bad.
Bamboozled, really.
Yeah.
What other Nintendo systems?
Advance was before 05. That's cool that it was before 05. We're in the 95.
Yeah,
to 2000.
95.
Yeah, we're working in a 5-year period here. So
I don't know.
oh man, it's got to be
Because there's no other
Virtual
Nintendo
Boy.
platforms that I know.
You guys may be overthinking just a little bit.
Overthinking.
So we said
platforms.
Nintendo 64.
As a platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only ones we know of. 64, SNES.
Hold on, let's think
Game Boy
outside
Color.
the box a little bit here. Got Game Boy Color. We got, and it was a Nintendo platform,
It is.
and it was not Super Nintendo. It was not Game Boy Color. It was not. We don't know if it was Game Boy Advance. We don't think it was because of the time. We know it wasn't Nintendo 64, and we know it wasn't.
It's exclusive to Nintendo. Yeah, this
Yeah.
game is exclusive to Nintendo.
Chat. What else? What else was out
We
there?
should have asked if it was a handheld or console, right? Maybe then at
Yeah,
that
let's,
point.
let's. Yeah, I think that's fair to ask.
So is this at this point? We already asked the consoles. It has to be a handheld that we don't know of, right? So was this released on a handheld?
Yes.
Okay, so it has to be advanced.
Oh, you know what? Not necessarily. Well,
Why?
yeah, let's find out. Let's just ask if it's on that. Because it could be they put other things out like on watches.
Then I don't want. Really?
Yeah,
Did Nintendo Watch?
You
As
guys
a
are still-
platform?
you guys are still overthinking it.
yeah. All right, is this on Game Boy Advance?
This is not.
Damn it!
What?
What is there?
And I'm talking about the release, like what it released on.
What it released on?
Yeah, those are all
It's
the platforms that
inexclusive.
There's
We were-
one that you guys are kind of leaving out. I mean,
SNES 64, Game Boy, it was like Game Boy Advanced, Game Boy Color. Those are the four that we mentioned. It has not been released on any of those. Right?
you said it. I will say that you said it, but
It's on the
didn't-
Game Boy. The regular Game Boy.
There
Okay.
you go. There you go.
But so from 95 to 2000, there was a
When was Pokemon released?
so Pokemon.
Yeah. When was Pokemon released?
Was it Pokemon Yellow?
Don't say that now.
I did. I said it.
So that's end it.
That's my guess.
That's it. That's it. Came up with a very timely.
Okay. I
Yeah, I told you guys are
did it, yeah.
overthinking it.
We were really
Yeah.
overthinking this. Yep.
You're
You're right.
I went to visit my cousin in like summer of like '98 or something, and he had just gotten Pokemon Yellow, and it didn't occur to me that it was still in the original Game Boy. Like that's so crazy. It feels like that was so. Like I felt like it'd be done by then. But yeah, Advance didn't come out till after 2000.
Yep.
And Color was just like a very like it could have been on Color because
The reason
Yellow
it doesn't
could be on
feel-
Color.
The reason it doesn't feel like it's on color is because they like totally remade all the sprites. They redid all the, they redid everything about the game when they came out with Yellow.
That is crazy. Yeah. And I think you're definitely right about a Game Boy Advance. It was way after.
Yeah. I have to say you can play it on the Game Boy Advance, but that's not what it came out on.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I think Color was already out around that same time frame. But-
This came out in
but
'98,
it was-
so
Yeah.
Yellow came out in '98.
We didn't guess Game Boy Pocket. We forgot to mention Game Boy Pocket.
Did we?
I'm sorry.
We also forgot the little Dreamcast things that would plug into the controller.
Oh,
You could grow the
So
little.
actually, color came out.
That's awesome.
1 month after Yellow.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Good stuff, everyone. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, thanks for hanging with us. Thrust for. It must be
dropping back in
2 days from now in
Yeah.
where you're from.
in the
So-
the UK. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's telling
It's-
everyone.
It's gonna
thank
be
you.
late.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
and,
thanks,
and,
everybody.
and it's
Got
always
lively
it's
tonight.
always better with some live stream and some viewers, which comes to say, with more community members, even in Pixel Pub and our gaming network, it is always fun to have more gamers. And we're at 7,600 we hit on Discord, which is
Nice.
crazy, and that is part of the Pixel Pub gaming network. So pixelpub.com. You can visit that. That has information.
PixelPubGaming.com.
Pixelpubgaming.com. That's right. Thank you. And then that's for all of our, we have World of Warcraft Guild, the Bam Bam Jammas, we have Wrath Incarnate for Destiny 2, we have Ark servers, we have Minecraft server, we got all this stuff. Visit that site. We have information on our podcast as well, right on the front page. And information about us, the staff. It has a staff page. Yes, they don't get paid, but they have a staff page and they have a picture on there.
Still waiting on my check.
That's
And benefits.
And benefits. So visit that. They it has our gamer tags, and of course visit the Discord. That's where we all meet. That's where we all discuss, comics, whatever it may be, games, new stuff coming out.
There is almost a community for every major game out right now.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
stuff like the rest of us, even an Arc server. It's a big Arc server is booming.
Yeah, it's booming.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And definitely, if you want to talk to us directly, the We Talk Nerd podcast channel on Discord, I'm always checking it out. So if you've got questions or feedback on the show or things like you'd like to hear us talk about, get on there, drop a line. I guarantee we'll read it. And
Talked
we'll
about Star Wars a lot this week.
Yeah, talked a lot about Star Wars. Yeah, it kind of goes up and down in terms of the the participation on that channel, but I feel like it's it's a good place that you can talk about whatever. So nothing is off topic.
Talk about.
Yeah, nothing is. Obviously, some things are taboo, but nothing is necessarily off topic. So you want to talk comics, movies, games, whatever.
Awesome.
Cool stuff. And I kind of sound like Bob Barker now, but I also want to make sure you know that for the Bad Mama Gemmas on WoW, Alliance on Sargeras, and Bleeding Hollow for the Horde. And I do want to say next week, Spay and Neuter your pets.
Yeah,
I do want to bring up, I don't know if Rob might watch this over the week, but the newest season of The Toys That Made Us is out, and I might review that next week.
Which one are they doing?
I haven't actually looked to see what the current episodes are, but I think I'm going to watch them.
I'm going to take some guesses. So the first one they did was Star Wars. That was the very first one.
Yeah.
Then they had G.I. Joe, Barbie, and He-Man. Not necessarily in that order, but those were the four. So I got a feeling they're going to go over Lego.
Yeah, the rest Star Trek.
I think Lego. Oh, did they say Star Trek?
I think Star Trek is. I'm pulling the list up. Just give me a sec.
All right. I'm wondering if you might not also see.
Season 2, first one Star Trek, 2 Transformers, 3 Lego.
Yeah, Transformers makes sense.
Transformers,
3 Lego, and 4 Hello Kitty.
All right, I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
Now I'll be honest with you. That Barbie one, I didn't think I was going to enjoy very much.
It was interesting.
There was a lot of interesting info, like where Barbie actually came from. She was directly copied from a German prostitute doll.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I'm sure I'm going to watch it, and I'll talk about it next week. I don't know if Rob will get a chance, but maybe we can talk about it together next week.
Sounds good. We'll definitely do that.
Well, we've already ran pretty long, so I guess we'll see you guys later out there.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.